So that was a really nice thing that they addressed the cornerback big need. They also addressed wide receiver.
Yes.
Dante Moncrief. I remember you were on the final word, and everybody saying Golden Tate, let's get Golden Tate.
No.
And you're like, no, that's not, and that's I keep hearing it's like we don't need that.
Yeah.
And then he signed one of those stupid deals with the Giants.
Giants, who I don't know what they're doing right now.
I have a theory. It's the Skrulls. They've been taking...
It's the Skrulls. This is going to be the MCU.
Yeah. The GM is a Skrull.
Right. Yo, if he was a Skrull, though, oh, man, that would be... but it makes sense, because why do you trade away Odell Beckham Jr.? You still have Eli Manning, and... there's so many frustrations I have with the team.
I don't understand what they're doing. I don't understand. Yeah. The Donut Bag is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smart way to buy and resell tickets. It takes confusion out of buying tickets. They put a 0 to 10 score on each ticket to let you know if you're getting a good or bad deal. Use promo code DonutBag to get $20 off your first purchase. Go to SeatGeek.com or get the SeatGeek app. SeatGeek, life's an event. We have the tickets. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Donut Bag, part of the Pod Hub Network. In this episode, I welcome back Chris Carter from DKPittsburghSports.com. It is a beautiful, warm day in Pittsburgh, and we got together at a place and just talked over everything going on with the Steelers, because there is so much. So if you hear background noise, that's why. Anyway, the Donut Bag starts right now. All right, busy week in the NFL and with the Steelers. With me to talk about it is NFL analyst for DKPittsburghSports.com at Carter Critiques on Twitter, Chris Carter. How you doing, sir?
What's up, my man? Yo, how you doing, man?
Oh. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, literally.
It is so beautiful outside.
Some of us are in shorts, and
yes,
and some of us are
in our loafers.
Yeah.
I am loving warm weather. I am so glad that it's here. I used to get into arguments with people in our company that, like, Dayon will go to Canada and he will not wear a coat. And I'm like, how? Like, it'll be freezing. He said it was -10 outside. I was fine. I'm like, dude, you're trying to give yourself problems. Like, don't do that. Just wear a coat. Be normal. Wear gloves.
He loves Winnipeg. So.
He loves Winnipeg. Don't get him started about them Jets, man. He loves that stuff.
Oh my goodness, that's weird. Yeah, he has like a love affair with that city.
Hey, man.
So free agency is upon us. It's been technically a day old.
The first wave's over.
Yeah, the first wave is over, and that first wave was ridiculous.
Woo! It's always exciting, man.
It's crazy. We're like we talked before here. The stupid teams spend stupid money.
Yep.
And the Steelers never do, and I thought it would be different this year, but it wasn't, because it turns out the Steelers didn't really have that much money to spend to begin with. What did they have? Like, I don't know, about 10 or 20 million or something like that?
I think it was around 16 to 20 after they started re-signing people. And that's the issue. It was that they were re-signing people and they needed to keep people in place in their system to make sure that they had backups in place. Like, for example, Anthony Chickillo getting $8 million over 2 years. Everyone's like, what? How do you pay someone like that? It's because Chickillo knows their system. He's never out of place. That's the one thing he'll give you consistently. You could either let him go out into the market where he'll probably get something like Jesse James got, where someone offers him 4 years, $25 million, or like LJ Fort got. And I think the Steelers are like, listen, we are thin at this position, and we need to keep people here just to hold the fort.
Do you think they should have... Literally.
Can I get a Coke?
Do you think they should have kept LJ Fort?
I think they should have. I think he should have gotten the contract that Chickillo got. Yeah.
Because, I mean, to me, Chickillo's a guy.
Yeah.
He
is.
He's more of a special teams guy.
And when he's on the field, like he makes some plays when it comes to him, and he's in his spot. But like, I try to talk to Chickillo. Like, I'm like, hey man, you made a great play here. He's like, hey man, I don't know about that. And I was like, so can you explain what happened? He's like, hey man, I caught the ball. I did that. And I was like, oh okay, thanks Anthony. Like, and he's a good dude. He seems real nice, but like not the guy I'd go to get my explanations of what the Steelers' plan was that day.
it's just unbelievable what they're doing at the linebacker position right now. You know, Bud Dupree, I will never understand this. They kept him.
Yep.
At over $9 million.
9.2.
Guaranteed.
Yep.
I just don't understand that.
Here's my thing, and I was talking to our beat writer Dale Lally, who knows the Steelers as good as anybody, and he has his sources in the front office and everything. But Dale was telling me he was very confident they were going to make a move on Bud Dupree before the deadline. That announcement hasn't come yet. But one thing he did tell me, he was like, "Hey." He's like, the team hasn't announced anything yet because they might be trying to make other moves while this is happening. But the reason, like, the people that leak out the stories before the teams announce them are usually the agents. They're usually people that agents wants to get it out. Okay. Like when Earl Thomas signs with the Ravens, the agent immediately wants to get that out there because that boosts his profile and boosts his player's profile. But in this situation, this would be Bud Dupree taking a pay cut. So this might not be something that the agents want to get out. So Dale's perspective, and I agree with this take, is that there's a chance, small chance, there's a chance that there has been something done. The Steelers just haven't announced it yet, but Dupree's people haven't announced it yet because it wouldn't exactly be a positive announcement.
Well, it would have to be a trade, right?
Well, technically, yeah. I mean, basically either a trade or they agreed to a deal and they just haven't said anything yet.
Oh, so we think
that's
going to
what,
be making $9 million, but really it could be.
Yeah, it could.
We just don't know.
There could be a deal behind the scenes that they just haven't announced yet. But here's the thing: I think there's a 20% chance that is the case right now. Just my opinion. But it does seem odd because here's my take. You know, everyone right now, the news right now of free agency with the Steelers is, can they get Justin Houston? Can they get Justin Houston? He was going to get $15 million this year. If you had cut Bud Dupree, you would have gotten $9.2 million right back into your salary cap. Now you can use that plus the money you have left over to get Justin Houston. Then you don't need Bud Dupree.
Right.
So my thinking there is that if the Steelers let that go, I think that would have been a huge mistake on their part. Because as much as I like Bud Dupree in the sense that he's smarter than people give him credit for, I think he's a better player than people give him credit for, but he's not worth $9.2 million.
Right. I remember you saying it wasn't necessarily that he wasn't that good. It's kind of like he was being told, you know, maybe drop back in coverage more or whatever. So, you know, people pointed at the sacks, like, he has so few sacks, but maybe that's kind of by design. Well,
so some of it's by design, but some of it's also like when he had a 3-week run where he had a sack in 3 straight games. And it was I think it was on the last time I was on your show. It was about Joey Porter, and what I deduced later, because he told me when I asked, like, hey, why have you been on a tear, man? And he said, hey, you know, Coach Tomlin just told me to do what I do, and Bud Dupree's a speed rusher, and Joey Porter's been trying to get him to become a traditional edge rusher, where he uses his hands properly, where he uses good bend. Bud Dupree doesn't have those skills. He's not going to get them. And I think that at that point they were like, listen, Joey Porter's not going to drill us into this guy. Let him be who he's going to be. And if he succeeds, he succeeds. If he doesn't, we move on. And he got a few sacks. I mean, 6 sacks isn't great, but it's not even really like, it's all right. It's acceptable. But
didn't he also get hurt?
He got hurt. Yeah, he's been hurt a few times.
So I think it was a pec or something like that. So you know that's gonna hurt his numbers. So. Yeah. So okay. So we'll see what happens with Bud Dupree.
There's a few things that could work out there that would surprise us. Because my thing is also Bud Dupree wants to stay in the league, and I think he wants to stay with a team that likes him for the most part. And I think the Steelers have gotten used to at least having Bud Dupree around, and he's a guy that can fit their system. It's like, hey, you're the occasional rusher because he's athletic.
They know his strengths and weaknesses
exactly.
better than anybody. They know him, so
yeah.
You know, we'll see. How good would Justin Houston be? How much of an upgrade would that be?
All right, imagine Joe Flacco being replaced by Drew Brees. That's
an upgrade.
Yeah. Justin Houston, I've studied him for years. He has such a powerful hand strike. He's explosive off the ball, even as he's turning into his early 30s. He is extremely talented. He's knowledgeable of the game, and he's a playmaker. He goes after the ball. He knows where the ball is. He's going after it. That's a guy that that if you have him on your roster, he's an immediate superstar. And were the Steelers able to get him and Watt would be destructive. And Watt's already destructive.
With that line?
Oh, yes. I mean, now, because here's the question. Say you just rush those four. Watt, Houston, Hayward, Tuitt. Normally, Hayward and Tuitt take up the double teams.
Yeah.
But you're going to leave Houston and Watt on single cut. No,
right.
That's a bad idea. And teams are going to freak out. And you can only double team one guy.
Exactly. You take care of Watt, you have to deal with Houston. You take care of Houston, you have to deal with Watt. So, we'll see.
That's the news that everyone's talking about Pittsburgh.
I'm going to be really upset now if we don't get him. One they did get from Kansas City is Nelson, the cornerback. You did a piece on him on
Yes.
DK Pittsburgh Sports. At the beginning of that piece, you didn't have nice things to say about their cornerback situation on that side last year.
It hurt, yeah.
I don't think Cody Sensabaugh is going to be inviting you to his barbecue.
Hey, I like Cody Sensabaugh. I hope he does. I wrote several good things about him this year. But I mean, it's the truth. The Steelers have been hurting at cornerback for years, right? I mean, sure, Joe Hayden's a great number one right now, but I mean, he represents, other than Artie Burns, the only first round pick that the Steelers have made at cornerback since, I don't even know. I can't even think off the top of my head right now. If I had the list in front of me, I'd be able to tell you. But they haven't traditionally invested in cornerback because they haven't valued cornerback. Now they're starting to because they're addressing the concerns that the change of the league is heading to. But Nelson, he was in a situation similar to Pittsburgh. They had Marcus Peters. Marcus Peters was a malcontent. He didn't want to be with the team anymore. In fact, he quit on the team one time. Wow. And Andy Reid said, I got to get rid of this guy. So they trade a guy who really is a good number one corner to the Rams for peanuts. Steven Nelson, because they don't address the cornerback position too well, he gets thrust into the top cornerback spot, but he doesn't do a bad job. In fact, if you look at how when the Steelers played the Chiefs, he was targeted officially 7 times, allowed only 3 completions for 18 yards. There was a touchdown to James Washington, but that was like a bit of a scramble play. But he was assigned to Antonio Brown for most of the game, and he was called for a defensive holding one time that wasn't a target, and then there was an interception he had that was wiped out because he had committed pass interference. But he's a physical guy. If you look at all his numbers in the combine, he came out when Bud Dupree came out in 2015. You saw all of his numbers. His 40 was in the middle of the pack, like number 13 or so. His 3-cone, his shuttle, all his agility and leg work things, they were in the middle of the pack. But what was up in the top 6 was his bench press. And that's where he makes his hay. He is extremely strong. He uses his hands. When you're a receiver trying to get in and out of your breaks, he is trying to redirect you.
Does he tackle on the run too?
He tackles on the run too.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's no, and that's the thing. He's no softy. He's not afraid to come up and hit somebody. And he's not going to be no Denzel Ward and just lay somebody out. But he is going to be a guy that, if the run's coming his way, he's not afraid to wrap somebody up. And he made several screen tackles last year that were pretty solid. So I would not count him out in that regard. And the big thing, and this is what I think he was paid for, is that when the ball came to him, he caught it. And that was the problem the Steelers have had too much. Mike Hilton, great slot corner as far as running with guys, changing direction, being quick, but he can't catch the ball. Right. Terrell Edmonds dropped a couple picks. Sean Davis dropped a couple picks. The Steelers were so tired of that, and any one of those picks could have changed those games, and one of those games could get them in the playoffs. Now you have a number 2 cornerback that's in a situation where if he made 4 interceptions last year and he had 15 passes defensed. Those are really good numbers of plays on the ball. And that's a guy that Colbert said, hey, we put him at the number 2 spot. We're not asking you to cover the Odell Beckham Jr.'s. We're not asking you to cover the Julio Joneses. We're asking you to cover the number 2 guy on the roster. Yeah. And he can do that.
Yeah. Sounds like he got a lot of action. Like, they threw to him a lot, but I think I saw the quarterback rating was only in the 70s or something like
78.9, I think it was.
Yeah, so
because he was the most targeted cornerback in the NFL and gave up the second most yards of any cornerback in the NFL. But only 53% of the passes that were thrown his way were completed.